Okay, folks, this is a continuation of the videos that I promised you that I would do, just as promised. And like I said, be patient with me, new at this whole thing. Not ever done any of this stuff before, but we're going to learn as we go. So remember that my teachings are always from Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. My people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. And that's something that I will continue on with throughout my teachings, because knowledge is key and knowledge is important in any situation, and especially when it comes down to your Christian life, okay? I want all of you to remember that. Now, John chapter 14, verse 6. I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one coming to the Father except through me. Now, what you see before me here is a little diagram of the beast system. This was first taught to me by K.J. Osborne. Kind of put this whole thing into perspective with me. He sort of was the one that configured it into this. I always sort of did know it, but I didn't really have what you would say a structure of how to put it in place. And he made that much easier for me when I watched some of his videos. He runs a YouTube channel called The Scariest Movie Ever. Does a few other things too, but KJ is a very good man for this kind of thing, and he was the one that configured this for me. And so I kind of made this little simple diagram for everybody. And what it simply shows you is just what the verse said. Jesus is the only way, the path, that's it, to the Father. The other things that you have, New Age teachings, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, Baha'i, Confucianism, Zoroastrianism, Shinto, Sikhism, all of it. Every single religion that you see in this world, it's all of it's Father Satan. Every bit of it is. There is none of it whatsoever that gives you to the same path as the way, the truth, and the life, Jesus Christ. Do not be believing and do not be deceived by some of these preachers that tells you that there are many ways to the path to heaven and many ways to the path of Christ, because there is not. There's only one path, and it's Him. And this whole thing kind of come along at a time that a conversation occurred the other night between me and a friend. And when this conversation occurred, I knew it was time to do this video. Because he more or less asked me, he said, Jerry, if you were in a dog hole, a foxhole, and you had to trust somebody, would you rather trust a soldier of Israel, or would you rather trust a Muslim? And he told me, you have to pick a side in this situation. Well, folks, if you pick a side in that situation, you're playing right into the devil's dialectic. You're playing right into it. Now, in order to explain this, I will have to go, let's see, to the next diagram. We're going to start, first of all, with Albert Pike's 3 world wars that he had predicted. And in these 3 world wars, the first thing that he predicted was to overthrow the Tsar and reinforce the communism and atheistic communist doctrine in the First World War. And of course that was done. Now in the Second War, it was to be between the fascist and the communist, designed specifically to establish a Zionist state. And it did in fact accomplish that very thing, as the Rothschilds and some of the bankers, they did manage through the UN to get the state of Zion established, where Palestine currently is. And so that happened. Now, this Third World War was what we were talking about, and he made predictions on this too. All you have to do is look this stuff up. In the third one, it was between the political differences of Zionism and Islam, and religious differences as well, in which those two will completely wire one another completely and totally down in a conflict in World War III Islam and Zionism. And after the entire world is wore down to absolutely nothing in this conflict, what will end up happening in this situation is a new Luciferian age will be established. And that is exactly what Satan wants to have happen. And so the Satanists, they actually had a ritual some years back that actually showed this. And what was it? It was 9/11. And 9/11 was completely a satanic ritual to show you this. Because what happened is, you had the Zionists and their allies, that represented one tower. You had the Muslims, the Islams, their faith and their allies, and another one. And it symbolizes the total destruction of both sides by both of those falling to the ground. In other words, they were totally down, just like both buildings fell all the way to the ground. And when they both fell completely to the ground to nothing but rubble, what ended up occurring once that happened? Well, what ended up occurring was a new World Trade Center, representing the new Luciferian age. And symbolizing what? The death of Christianity and atheism at the same time. And this was documented in the 3 World War predictions by Brigadier General Albert Pike, which, by the way, got into a lot of trouble, and Andrew Johnson pardoned him for his trouble. He was the 33rd degree Freemason, and this was the 3 predictions that he had made in his letter to Jaspy Mazzini. And he had also wrote the book, Morals and Dogma, at which that point in time he admitted to everyone that he indeed felt like Lucifer was the way to go in life, and not, I guess, not Jesus Christ, because that wasn't what he wrote about. But this is what 9/11 was all about, guys. It represented this prediction of Albert Pike to a T. Now, you're going to say, Jerry, I don't know if I agree with you when you say that, the belief in Jesus Christ is this way or that, and everything else doesn't lead to God, because there's a lot of good people who are Buddhist. We know some people who are part of the Zionist movement. These are good people. A lot of people get caught up. A lot of good people get caught up in a beast system of government, or a beast political system, religious system, and they're good people, but they're caught up in it. But Jesus Christ is indeed the only way there is, folks. Any of this other stuff, Buddhism, Hinduism, Zoodism, Voodoo, Goozism, it doesn't matter what it is. It's all part of the same father, Satan. Okay? So that's what I wanted to get through to you in this video about. Now, you say, well, okay, have you got any proof of that, Jerry, what you're saying? Yeah, there's a lot of things that shows that they're the same father. A lot of things do. If you really want to look at it, let's begin with Albert Pike's temple that he has in Washington, D.C., okay? And then let's see. We'll not begin with the temple. What we'll do is we will begin with the UN meditation room. Let's do that first. The UN meditation room has a black cube in the middle of it. And this black cube is 6.5 tons in the middle of the floor. It's actually made in the form of a triangle laying flat, just like what I show you there. 6.5 tons. It's 33 feet long. I think that's representative of the 33 degrees of Freemasonry. And it's 18 feet wide, 6 by 6 by 6. The black cube is extremely magnetic, and it has several wires that goes down through a concrete pillar, and the pillar weighs 6.5 tons in the middle of the floor. Now, this is where your leaders go and meditate over a lot of issues that they are talking about in the council room and what to do about some of this stuff. And this black cube, if you think of what kind of influence that has on politics, folks. You know, here you are talking to leaders, over 8 billion people, and the place that they go to meditate on all this stuff is a room that has a black cube in the middle of it. That's something else, if you ask me, okay? Now, we're going to go to some other images right here that's away from this. Albert Pike, in his temple in Washington, D.C., he had a big black cube in the middle of his floor there in the temple. That his body's also there in that temple. And so it's a black cube, much the same as the meditation room is that you're seeing here on this diagram. Now, when you move along to Islamic belief, the Grand Mosque in Mecca, these people also circle around this big black cube in Mecca, and that is a big thing with them when it comes to the God Allah. And so you can see how that ties in with the other two that I was telling you about. Now, one thing that is really disturbing after that I just showed you these three different black cubes. Now take a look at the cube on the hand of Anton Cézanne de Lavey. And this cube on Cézanne de Lavey's hand is indeed a black cube. And he calls that his master ring to control everything. The big black cube has all kinds of energy. A wish cube, if you will, for the children is what he says, heaven forbid. But as you can tell, you can see that as well. All right. Now, in Zionism, we've got two leather black boxes on many of the rabbis. One placed upon the forehead, the other one placed around the left arm. And you've got a lot of these black straps that goes around their body on both sides. And the two leather boxes, they claim those boxes are places for them to put some of their sayings from the Talmud, some of the verses and so forth, and to pray about it inside those black boxes. And obviously I think they changed it. They change them around as their prayers change or whatever. But the point that I'm trying to make is this black box, these two black boxes, one on the forehead and one on the left arm, it's the same identical black box that we just talked about in Albert Pike's temple. The same black cube that is in Islam. It's the same black cube that's in the meditation room at the UN. Okay? And so, you know, guys, everything that you're seeing on that, it is all of the same Father. It's all of the same Spirit. You can see that, where it all ties in. And it ties right back into what I was trying to tell you. That you live in a beast system of government. Everything, or a religion, excuse me, everything that's in this entire world is of Satan. The only thing that you have that gives you the true life, hope, and coming to the Father is Jesus Christ. All this other stuff, guys, all this is basically, you got Satan and a Halloween costume closet box. And all this other stuff is him. Making you comfortable in any religion, making you comfortable in any country. Making you comfortable in any way that he can think of. Right down to the black cube showing up in many of these religions. You know, even the words and the sayings are the same, guys. You take Judaism, it's Kabbalah. Kabbalah is what they believe. The God in Islam is Allah. Kabbalah and Allah. Sounds a lot alike, doesn't it? And the reason why, they are all of the same spirit. They all have the same spiritual father, Satan. So when you see some of these people getting on television like Oprah or any of these preachers, which you guys already know I don't like any of these preachers on television. I think they're all controlled. I think they're all the same thing. When you see that, you're seeing an example of what I'm just telling you. It's many paths. No, there's not many paths to Jesus Christ. There's only one path. Or not many paths, in other words, to the Father. There's one path. You don't have all these other paths that goes to a God. They're a dead end. And they're all of the same Father. They're all the same Spirit, the devil. That's why when you pray, you need to pray to Jesus Christ and Jesus Christ alone. He even tells you that. I'm the way, the truth, and the life, and no one coming to the Father but me. And he meant it when he said that. He was trying to tell you that all this other beliefs, every bit of it, is not going to work. So when it comes down to my discussion that I had with a friend of mine about would you take sides in World War III, when it comes down to Zionism or it comes down to Islam, the answer to that is, folks, I'm not taking either side in that dispute. Because that's exactly what the father of both of those disputes wants you to do. He wants you to take a side. Just like people took sides in World War II. He wants you to take a side in this. And there is no side to be taken because both sides are of the same father. They're of the same spirit, the devil. Of Satan. So you're saying, well, Jerry, what side are you on? I'm on the side of Jesus Christ in the middle. And when I get on that side of Jesus in the middle, I count myself worthy to have escaped the bloodbath. There is no other side to be in. Both of these, you're like, well, Jerry, I really like the idea of Israel and the state. Let me tell you something, folks. It doesn't matter what you do in this World War III coming up. Both of these sides are going to be destroyed. Both of them are. Zionism and Islam both, which mainly with Zionism, we're talking more Christianity than anything, but you're choosing a side. This basically is they're looking for their Mashiach, their Messiah. And so it will be transformed into Luciferianism, which will be the mark of the beast. But you can't pick a side in this and be on Jesus' side. They are of the same spirit, both of them, and they both are going to be destroyed in a wore-out battle in which the new Luciferian one-world government will be established. So if you pick a side, all you're doing is doing the same thing that people done in World War II. Switzerland played both sides. The big bankers, they played both sides. They funded the war for Hitler, and they funded the war for the communists / allies, and eventually the United States entering into the war. And so both sides lost in that war. The whole world was tore upside down over a dialectic that Switzerland played, and that dialectic was being played by the devil, by Satan. Now this dialectic is coming around again, and I don't believe it's very far off, guys. I really don't. It's going to be the same dialectic that was played in World War II. It's going to play out again right here. And both of these sides, just like the 9/11 says, both of them, they're going to be gone. They're going to be tore to the ground. It's going to be over with for both of them. So my answer to you people who says you need to pick a side in this, I'm on the side of Jesus Christ. I'm not going to pick a side. Why? Because both sides have the same Father. Both sides have the same Spirit. Both of them are going to be down to nothing, tore away to nothing. And after both of them are wore down to nothing, to practically nothing whatsoever left of them, the new Luciferian age will take place. This is the ending result of both. Neither one of them are going to win. The spirit of the devil, of Satan, of the beast, he's the one that's going to come out ahead in this. So don't pick a side in this. Account yourself worthy to escape the bloodbath. Because a lot of you charismatic Christians, a lot of you who are listening to these people on television, just like John Hagee, you need to be in defense of Israel. You need to be in defense of God's territory. God does love that territory. But if you pick a side like they're saying, you're going to be on the losing end, just like they are, because neither side is going to survive this. So don't be listening to these preachers on television. These preachers on television are New World Order preachers. If they didn't say what the script says, if they didn't say what that they were meant to say, by the bankers and these few corporations that owns the television screens, they wouldn't be on television, guys. That's what I'm trying to tell you. People's like, well, have you seen such and such on TV? No, and I'm not interested in seeing such and such. Because such and such is under control by corporations. And such is going to get you to try to pick a side on this dispute. Both sides are going to lose. Now, thank you very much for seeing my video today on this. This is something that's going to tie in to a much better video coming up. And this video coming up is going to be about the state of Israel. And it's going to be a doozy because nobody likes to talk about it, because you're either going to be an anti-Semite for talking of it, or one of the two. And a lot of people avoid this, the Christians avoid it, but listen, by avoiding this subject that we're going to go over into and not talk about this verse and talk about that subject, by avoiding that subject, you're allowing the problem that is occurring from it to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. So we're going to get into that. But remember what I told you about this. Don't be choosing a side in this. Both of them are of the same spirit. They're of the same doctrine. They're of the same devil. Thank you much for watching my video, and stay tuned for the next video coming up. It'll probably be about a week making it. It's been something I've actually worked on longer than any video, much longer than this video. So thank you for tuning in.